Hi, folks. Sorry I can't be with you today. I'm down at a conference in Minneapolis learning lots. And while I'm gone, you guys are doing the book tasting. I wish I could be here for it because I love to talk about good books. And one of the good books that I want to talk to you today about is called Among the Hidden, and it's the first in the Shadow Children series by Margaret Peterson Haddix. I discovered this book years and years and years ago when I first started teaching, and it was one of the first books that I ever read aloud to seventh graders. I've since kind of retired it from my read alouds, but man, it's still a really good book. And what I love about it is that it is part of a series. So if you like one book, there are six more really good books. And I can tell you that this is one of the few series that I've read not just the first book, but I've read the entire series because I liked the series that much. Now, if you're looking for a good author, Margaret Peterson Haddix, she has written a lot of other good books. The Missing series by her, you can see that there's a lot of books in that series. I haven't read her Children of Exile or Palace Chronicles yet. She wrote one of the books in the 39 Clues series, and then she's got a ton of standalone novels. I've read Double Identity. I've read Running Out of Time, which was good. I read House on the Gulf, and Uprising is about the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire. So she writes in a lot of genres, but Among the Hidden in the Shadow Children series, you can see that's the first thing listed on her book's website because that's probably what she's best known for. It was kind of her first really big series to take off. So, what it's about. Well, one, you can see it's an award-winning book. It did win the Maud Hart Lovelace Award from Minnesota when it was out. And here's what it says about the book. It says Luke, our main character, he's never been to school. He's never had a birthday party or gone to a friend's house for an overnight. In fact, Luke has never had a friend. Luke is one of the Shadow Children, a third child forbidden by the population police. He's lived his entire life in hiding. And now, with a new housing development replacing the woods next to his family's farm, he is no longer even allowed to go outside. Then one day Luke sees a girl's face in the window of a house where he knows two other children already live. Finally, he's met a shadow child like himself. Jen is willing to risk everything to come out of the shadows. Does Luke dare to become involved in her dangerous plan? Can he afford not to? So essentially what Margaret Peterson Haddix did is she took the population law that they had in China. In China, they had a law that said that families were only allowed to have two children and no more. And if you had more than two children, there were fines and there were different things that would happen to families that had more than two children. And so Haddix knew this, and she wrote a book that um, really looked at what would happen if a family broke that law. What if a family had more than the two kids that they were allowed to have? And that's how she created Luke and the world that he's living in. So he's in hiding. That's why they call it Among the Hidden. He's a child in hiding. His family knows that he exists, but it's only his brothers and his mom and dad. His grandparents have no idea that that family has three kids. They only know about Luke's brothers. Luke has never gone to school because going to school would be against the law. The school would discover that he's a third child in this family and the family can only have two kids. But his whole world is getting tossed upside down because they're adding new houses right next to his farm. So he's no longer able to go outside like he once could. He's got to stay even more hidden than he had been before. And again, the great piece about this book is if you read it and you like it, there are a whole lot of other books in the series. And all of the books follow Luke's story, I think, except for, I think, book number three. Book number three looks at, if I remember right, it was a couple of other shadow children, and it follows their stories. But all of the rest of the books are focused on Luke, and you get to kind of see his journey as a shadow child throughout. It's an excellent read. I highly recommend it. Typically, when my kids read the first book, they want to see what happens next to Luke, and they go on and they keep reading in the series. The book itself is not too challenging of a read. It's a 4.8, meaning that students at the end of fourth grade, this would be a comfortable read for them. But again, even my seventh graders have always loved this book when I've done it as a read aloud. It is worth 5 AR points, and most of the books in the series are between 5 to 7 AR points. So if you would read the whole series, you're looking at 35 plus points if you're really feeling adventurous. If you have any more questions about the book, I would love to talk to you about it when I get back on Monday. Hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you on Monday.